Welcome everyone to the second part of the Dead Spatula Dungeons & Dragons Online character creation tutorial. In here we will discuss the beginning parts, the stats portion of custom character creation. So, after choosing your style and your class, you are given the choice for your race, or you're choosing your choice for your path. You want to choose here Customize. This gives you a custom character that you've built from scratch. You then choose your race. I'll get into Drow in a second, but for now I'm going to use Halflings. Click Next. Now, you're going to have a little bit of wait here because your game... Well, it loaded up right now. But generally when you're first loading up your game, it's not going to have this stuff loaded, and so it'll take a little bit. So you'll note, with a human, everything starts at 8. With a halfling, my strength is lower, my dex is higher. This is a key point. This is where all the stat changes, you'll note, come in. Now you have a certain number of points. Each stat costs a certain amount. As I put points into the stat, my ability modifier changes. Now this is one thing most people make mistake with. This modifier does not mean my int is 12 plus 1. My int is 12. It gives me an ability modifier of +1. Any ability that relies on your intelligence has a +1 modifier. See, I've got a lot of negative ones right now. I'm probably going to want to move this stuff up. Modify it. I'll move the strength up to 8. Don't want to get it too below 8 in your strength, even as a wizard, just because it starts reducing the amount of stuff you can carry around. Int is over here you'll note, it has what your good scores are. I don't know why it mentions strength here. Because it just tells you exactly what it tells you right over here. It's affecting your melee attack chance, your damage, and the amount of it also affects the amount of gear you can carry by weight. But we'll get into item weight when we get into items. So here, good constitution score gives a wizard extra hit points, a resource she is otherwise very low on. So, you might want to have a couple extra points in con. You get an extra point of HP per level for every con modifier you have. Dexterity, that gives you armor, so we're probably going to want some dexterity in there. Now you note, as I've increased my int, the point cost has increased to 3 points. So if I wanted to put one more point into it, I have 4 points. I got 17, and I can't put any more points into my int. I'm going to leave it at... actually 17. I'm going to leave it at 17. You gain one more point for every 4 levels you gain. At level 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, you can put another point into any of these stats. Beyond that, you don't have really any ability. These stats are pretty ingrained here. I'm going to go with a really high int. It gives me more spell points. Do not, I cannot enforce this enough. Do not use what I have written here as a model for your character. Do what you want, because the most important thing about this game is what's going to be fun for you. I like having a fuck ton of intelligence points. I just like having a ton of them. Here in the con, here in the dex, you can modify it. I can go down to 16, 12 con, 16 dex. Heck, I'll move con up to 13. I'll move up con up to 14. There you go. That's a completely valid character choice. Got a lot more hit points. Got a little more resistance to damage. Because as it says over here, dexterity affects your armor class, and a few less spell points. I've only got 10 more spell points. You'll see this. I just want it. That's my prerogative. Do what you want. Do what's going to make it fun for you. Now, if we go back, Yes, I'm not sure I want to lose the changes. So we're going to show you something about Drow. They're what is known as a 32-point build. You note they still only have 28 points up here. They are known as a 32-point build, however, because you'll note 10, 10, 10, and only with a 1 6. They have 4 extra points. Now, granted, they're immovable effectively, but they have 4 extra points than any other class, and so they have what is known as a de facto 32-point build, and so that's why a lot of people will like to use them. The stats that affect at 20, that start at 10, max at 20. Stats that start at 8, max at 18. And stats that start at 6, max at 16. This is not a character max, this is just a max for character creation. So, as you can see, my build here is going to be different. I'm going to have a much different build because of what the overall stats, the extra points give me. I have a very different character at this point. It is very different, and it is because of those extra stat points I had. And also some different changes I made, some different decisions I made. Because of that, I mean, it's a very different character, and it's going to play differently. So that's something else to take into account when you create your character. There are some people who will create a character, grind up to 400 favor to unlock Drow, and then just play Drow until they unlock 32-point builds. Drow become less useful when you have a 32-point build, because now you can do the same thing you have with Drow, have those extra 4 points, but put the 4 points, but do it however you want, instead of have those points be statically stuck like they were. So, my next video is going to be on skill points, I believe, and let's check that. Yeah, the next video will be on a skill point screen here. I'll explain it to you then. And remember, come to Dead Spatula for all your game tutorial needs.